Hello beautiful people, hello everyone. Nongeye kugwa ikaze mu biganiro bya Radio TV 10. Guess what? Uyu munsi tugiye kuganiriza Kalisa Amanda. Kalisa Amanda mwamenye muri Miss Rwanda 2021 muri 2021 ubwo yabaga first runner cyangwa ibyo bita igisonga cya mbere. Turamufite twagiye kumusura. Ikaze Amanda. Amakuru y'iminsi sumeze ute?
Meze neza. Maze igihe ndimo gukora amaprojet ariko ndi muri vacances, so ndimo kurestinga, living a soft life a little bit.
Okay.
Hari ikindi se, bon, santé imeze bon.
Tell us about yourself. Amanda ni muntu ki?
Bon, hari Amanda abantu babona, hanyuma hari Amanda ngewe nzi, sinzi niba bihura, ariko ngewe ukuntu nzi ukuntu meze, ndi umuntu uri quiet, uri shy, ariko ninzi if I know people ndavuga cyane. Ndi umuntu uri curious, nkunda kwiga, to learn random things. Ushobora kumbona kuri YouTube ndimo kubaza why is the planet round, you know, so I'm very curious. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, so I live in Christian beliefs. I just recently became Christian, so yeah, many of my things surround God. What else? If you get to know me, I'm a silly person. I don't make sense to people. I'm silly, I'm funny. It depends. So, to make things short, I can be shy, but I'm also silly. I believe in God. I live for God. Yeah, all of that in between. I don't know if I answered that, but yeah.
That's fair. Wavuga ko Miss Rwanda kuri wowe ivuze iki? What impact yakuzanye mu buzima bwawe? Like what impact did it bring?
Bon, Miss Rwanda ukuntu nabibonye yamaye platform aho nshobora gukora ibintu byinshi ndimo gukora uyu munsi, especially around mental health. Mbere na platform nayo mfite kuvuga kuri mental health, to impact the youth, to build what I've built. So mfite Miss Rwanda to thank. Kuri njyewe yari platform. Really, it was a platform. It gave me a good platform. Hari ibindi bintu nyine bya Miss Rwanda specifically, ariko individually ibyo byankoreye was positive. Everything after or during is something entirely different.
Ugarutse ku kintu cya mental health. When it comes to mental health, nakumvishe ugirana ibiganiro byinshi n'abanyamakuru bagiye batandukanye talking about your mental health. So far umeze ute? How is your health?
My mental health is really good. It's really, really good. But before Singweshe, it was the trenches. So I think during Miss Rwanda, around that time, I was trying to look like I had my mind together. It was really tough. Naicharimo kugenda muri treatments and therapy and things like that. Ariko finalement, especially this year specifically, mbonye the right support system, the right medication, the right everything. So now I can say for the first time in a long time, I feel motivated. Numva nshobora ku kubaho nk'umuntu, like a human being. Since but people who go through depression, sometimes we don't feel like we can get out of bed. We don't feel like we can be motivated. Since this year, I thank God I can say that I'm able to do that.
Ni Amanda who is very open, ukavuga ibyiyumviro byawe kenshi. How do you feel about this? Like, how does it help you kuba wasura hanze amarangamutima yawe cyangwa ukabwira umuntu ko wiyumva?
Personally, like my identity, abantu banzi, they know I'm very open, and ni gutyo I express myself. Ntabwo nari mbizi ko bijye gukora, like I didn't know it was going to help people. It's just that's how I am. I like to be honest. I like to open up, and I feel numva when you open up, abandi bantu bashobora kwibona muri wowe, bashobora kudatinya nyine kuvuga what they're going through. So that's what I found out after the interviews. When there's people on Instagram who have reached out, Girako, thank you for opening up. Even me, I've been through this. So before it was just who I am. It's just who I am. I'm an open person. After I saw that it was very helpful, and I'm going to continue as much as I can.
Amanda, iyo umuntu akubabaje akwigisha iki? Nyuma yo kutubwira n'icyo umuntu akwigisha amaje kukubabaza watubwira se muri ako kanya wowe uwo muntu akwereka ko uri iki cyangwa uri nde nka Amanda. How do you handle being offended?
I remember I said I'm a Christian woman, yeah. I take lessons. Since niba shaka kubivuga mu cyongereza mu kinyarwanda ariko ndagerageza. N'umuntu, if someone offends me, I tend to I don't take it personally. I try not to take it personally. Because hurt people. If someone is angry with themselves or not in a good situation, they also hurt you. So I try not to take it personally. I also try to breathe. I count to 10 in my head. But of course, if I also have to defend myself. If it goes too much, I also know how to defend myself through speaking. I don't need to be violent. I don't need to, but I check them a little bit if they're pushing it. So yeah, that's how I am.
Amanda uri muntu ki after like being offended hari ukuntu umuntu akubwira ijambo when it gets to you gahita uvuga ati koko wabona ari komeze cyangwa the way you reply you just say I'm very strong, you see bikwereka kuri muntu ki nka Amanda.
Like for me, so it depends on the offense, right? Let's say for example someone comes and says, so many times I've got comments on my lips, for example. Said, oh my God, those lips, do you do this, do you do that? And of course I get hurt. I'm a human being. Okay. But I also reflect, I analyze, and I say, you know what? At the end of the day, who am I? I know myself, God knows me. Those people don't know me. So I tend to push those small offenses, those little things, your lips, your figure, your I push it to the side because it can't do anything. If it goes too deep, if it's something about my family, for example, that's where I can, now I'm defending someone else. Yeah. For me, I can be patient, I can push it. Yeah, now you're going a bit too far. I have to say something. Right. So I can be patient and let things go. But if it affects someone in my family, a friend, my fiance, that's where I don't have self-control. I don't think I do.
Amanda, wakoze interviews nyinshi ugenda ugaruka to some of your problems, like mental health problems you had. How do you feel opening up to people, like about your personal life? Because kuba ufite some mental health issues, it's something you can keep to yourself, Canadians sometimes. But how do you feel talking it out, like it's your personal life? And how do you think this does help a lot of people? And in what ways do you think it helps them? When I'm opening up about my story, it can be scary. Igihe ninya ukuntu abantu bagiye kwifata kwa ndabizi ko hari stigma nyinshi, ndabizi ko not everyone has good intentions nubwira story yawe, ariko muri njyewe nkunda kureba the positive more than the negative, right? If my story helps even one person, abandi bashaka kuvuga ibyo bashaka, ariko if it helps one person in the crowd and that person, it changes their life, that's what I'll focus on. You see, so it can be scary, but it's worth it. The way I've seen that it changes people's lives is I've seen people less afraid to go to therapy, and normalizing even. So if you go to before 10 years ago, therapy, you're umusazi, you're crazy. Ariko kubona umumiss
who goes to therapy, you know, who handles her mental health. They saw me on a stage, they saw me speaking, but I'm also a human being and I also go through things.
Yeah, sure.
And even though I went through therapy, I think you can see Nagondo Musasi. So I'm breaking, I like to break the stigma more and more and more by showing that it's only going to help you by going to, my story is there to only help you and show you that it's not the end of the world if you go seek help.
Tugarutse gato kuri Miss Rwanda ubigarutseho being on stage, then you have such problems kuko uri umuntu urumva muri kiriya gihe byanga bikunda, you didn't have to suffer a long time because wari ufite ibibazo kandi you have to take care of yourself. So kiriya gihe cyose of course harabo wakiraga bakubwira amagambo agiye atandukanye bakubaza se wabaye first run up ubu ngubu uri gukora iki ibyo ugomba gukora arabikoze. How did you feel that time? Like wumvaga ari ibintu bikuremereye gute? Of course you're going through something umuntu akaza akakongeraho n'ibindi. How does it feel?
You know, funny enough, when I moved to Rwanda, I felt like I was okay, you know, because depression, it comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. So when I first came, things were good. I even had the strength and confidence to go to Miss Rwanda. After, especially during some interviews, comments, and when you become famous, I guess, for the first time, now you think it's just, eventually they just look at the public figure and they think, oh, it must be nice that people see her. They don't see the public figure and how she's responding or he is responding to those things. So for the first time, I became, I guess, a public figure. So that means eyes are on me. That means criticism is on me. If I do anything right or wrong, someone is going to mention something. And so if you know, déranger, small by small, you know, tiny bits, tiny bits. So the strength I had started to reduce. The confidence I had started to reduce. And then over time, it turned into, I went back into depression. So when these things, when I continued and I pushed myself through these things, I felt, I don't know, I felt I was losing myself. You know, I would show confidence, but I was pushing it. So I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly. Ariko nyine byagiye we like being dérangeant plus en plus, like over time, slowly by slowly. Hanyuma one day I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm back in depression. You know, it doesn't come like immediately. I just went back into it. So I had to stop and say, I have to change. I can't be doing the same, going out in public or talking to interviews, whatever, because they're changing me and it's causing problems.
Tugende wenda kubyo wanyuzemo ukora iki gituma biriya utabisubiramo cyangwa gifasha nabandi kuba batanyura mu byo wanyuzemo?
Bon, first of all, therapy. Number one. I have a therapist every Wednesday. I also went and I sought professional help, going to doctors and I talked to them. But I'm gira exactly ikibazo. I got the right medication for it. And I know people are going to say, oh my God, medication is crazy. I'm like, but if you have physical problems, you take medication. So
Yeah, sure.
you can't have a mental problem and just drink water. Sometimes you need a medication, you know? So I had that. And it took time to find the right medication. It took time to find the right therapist. And I decided to really focus on what makes me healthy. So if that means stopping to go out, I stopped. I said, listen, I can't go into public spaces where there's alcohol, where I'm suffering and so call it enjoyment, but really no. So I decided, I said, let me take care of myself. And actually the biggest thing that I did, and people might be surprised, I think, but I'm not anymore, is spirituality. And I talk about it a lot now, but the minute I started focusing on myself and my mental health, I also started focusing on God.
Yeah, sure.
And I've helped myself mentally now and also spiritually, you know, because they say mind, body, and soul.
Okay.
You know, so I've helped myself with the mental part, but you can't have a good mindset if you don't have a good soul or if you don't have a good body. So thankfully, also my journey with God has helped me a lot. a lot. If I need to sit down and I need to talk to someone, because you know you can't always talk to everyone, so you talk to God. You know, sometimes I'm like, if I talk to that person, they might sin. So I talk to God more often.
People are judgmental most of
People
the
are
time.
judgmental, you know, and God is just there chilling, saying, "Talk to me, just talk to me."
Anyways, Amanda, apart from when to very good evening, Amanda, what do you do to earn a living? Something that pays you back, you know, and something chibe wenda ari n'ikintu giconnecting n'ibyo yanyuzemo gifasha abandi bantu just to see what they're going through, cause you're not alone cyangwa they can just go through it bikarangira bakabivamo neza kandi amahoro.
So we started an organization yitwa Uheruka. The organization is non-profit, so tugira amafaranga here and there. Most of it goes into the organization. It's what I've put my efforts into. The organization ifasha urubyiruko, young people. Yeah, my Kinyarwanda is coming. Urubyiruko to understand what mental health is. If you know it at a young age, you're more likely to avoid it at an older age. So that's what we do. We help young people, we educate them, advocate, send them to the right help, give them the right support. So that's the passion. Ariko ndimo no kugenda niga kuba therapist. So yeah.
You're going to do psychology.
I'm going to do psychology. That's the goal. I don't just tell people to go there. People can come to me and talk to me. And now that people know that I've gone through this, I hope they don't feel that I will judge them.
If you also went through something like that.
Yeah.
So ni Amanda watangije your organization as your own idea cyangwa it's a group of people you do it together. Tell us more about it.
So it was first my own idea. It came from the project, but it went changing a little bit. But it came from the project I did in Miss Rwanda, and yeah.
So in Miss Rwanda, you still had the same problem.
The same project, yes. So like I
mean the same problem as in the mental health problem.
Yeah, that was my main project. So I continued with it, and then I created Uheruka. Came out of it. Uheruka, yeah. And but I didn't do it alone. I have an amazing team that helped me register it as an organization, that helped me, but I'm my events. So we have a team. Now when you have the idea, I had our teammates that co-created it with me. Now we have a big role in Uheruka.
Amanda, niki kintu umuntu yagukorera nubashe kukihanganira? What's something very offending to you wakumva ati uyu muntu yarengereye, or they just made me feel uncomfortable? What is the thing?
There's a few things. I think disrespect.
Okay.
Disrespect is the biggest thing, and not just to me. If I see someone being disrespected, it also offends me. You're better than, and then you put someone down because it doesn't matter where you're from. If you start putting yourself and disrespecting other people, that's the thing that I can't. It rubs me off the wrong way. Yeah. So I think that's it. They like to act very, I don't know who, and they treat, most importantly, they treat other people without respect, or me, or anyone else. So those kinds of people, those are the ones I can't really understand.
Well, kubantu benshi wenda batabizi, you're now engaged. I can say you're off the market.
Off?
Show them your ring.
Hi.
You're off the market. Amanda, please share us your love story with your man.
Okay. Okay, it's a long story.
It's okay, you can just cut it short.
I'll try to cut it short. We met in London. Nangiyeyo kureba sister wanjye she was pregnant, she gave birth. Nyine we mbona ahantu twari dusohotse n'inshuti zanjye turamubona hariya. He was very nice. Turavugana, we talked for some time, ariko nyine that was it. I just met him in some place and we talked for some time. Ariko nyine ndataha the next day kwe nayimuhaye Instagram yanjye aranyandikira aravuga ngo nshobora kutwara muri date. Zikuvuga, can I take you on a date at my age? I was like, abantu baracabikora. Just to say, can you take me on a date? Because I'm not used to it. Really? Yeah, there's sometimes, I don't know, in my past, no one would actually say, can I take you out on a date?
Well, you just made me curious. Stop there. At your age, what do you mean?
At my big age. You know how people are these days? They're just kind of like, you meet them at a club or something, and like, let's go. Like, let me take you, like, let's, I don't know. It's just, it
so
was never.
You're too old for that.
No. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know in my generation, there were people who can ask people out to go on a date. You see what I'm saying?
That's big, you know.
You know, because
very somehow
like a gentleman.
Sweet, yeah.
You know, because I was like, I thought people like this don't exist anymore. Turns out that they do. Okay. Because me, the things I went through, So I was curious when he asked me out on a date, and I was like, this is okay. Out of curiosity, let me go. It was the first time I've seen this person. I met him at a restaurant. Kalisa, it was a crazy idea, but he took me out. He took me to the park. But then after that, because we met 5 years ago. After that, I went back to the US. I moved France. He's a French person, so I Uheruka now. So we didn't see each other for like 4 years. We used to write to each other slowly over the years. And then last year, I don't know, he said, yeah, I want to be with you. Okay. And so he came to Rwanda, and we dated for like, seriously for 1 year. 1 year, he asked me to marry him.
You seem to be very excited. I'm engaged. Does it change before when you guys are dating, then to engagement? Does something change? How do you feel right now?
Yeah, something changes. I remember the day he asked me to marry him. I got back to the house because I was at his place in France, and all of a sudden I started cooking food and like, you know, trying to like take care of him. I was like, I don't know, because this girlfriend status where it's like, we can go on a date together, but I'm not going to be a wife. I'm not going to act like a wife. So the minute the ring came on me, I was like, oh, I have to take care of him more. You know, I started, you know, organizing his laundry. You know, like things change a little bit. All of a sudden, you start to become, you know, I'm like, yeah, I start to feel, okay, now, like I'm a wife, I'm about to be a wife. I need to start acting like a wife.
So when are you guys communicating the dates? Marriage, is it near, if that's okay for you to say?
That's fine. So we decided to do like the gusaba and the wedding maybe next year.
In Rwanda?
Yeah, it's in Rwanda. But then we'll have like, you know, the Fatibembo and the civil actually soon, beginning of next year. But then the gusaba and everything else, it might be after some time. Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah. But I'll be legally married in January. Yeah.
Off the market.
Off.
Abantu benshi bagiye bakunda kubona ubipostinga bakibaza say is this real? Actually mfite n'akabazo k'amatsiko. Umuntu ashobora kubona like abantu benshi kuko abantu benshi bafite stories zabo biberetse ibintu nk'ibyo utaragira n'icyo bivugaho gusa they have their own stories. Wabwira Amanda benshi wenda bakavuga ati the guy is older than her. You know, what's the age difference between you guys? Is it that like?
It's like 7.
Even if it is, would you mind?
No, I wouldn't mind. But it's actually like 7 years. But you know what's funny? Like I didn't know. I looked too young, you know, or I don't want to say he looks too old, but I didn't know that I looked too young. For a walk, right? Now when I put on makeup, you know, I was wearing joggers, we went for a walk nicely. He said, I was like, I'm 27. I was like, I told him the age. Everyone go, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I thought you were like 15, 16, and this one was in his 40s. Yeah. You know? And I was like, oh my God, do you guys think that I'm dating an old man? And I'm, no. And so I told him, I was like, I'm 27 years of age, my man, you know, and he's in his 30s. So it's not really, it's just a 7-year difference, or even less than that. So, I don't know. I guess black doesn't crack, and I just look young. So thank you to everyone who thinks that. But we're of a good age. But even if he was older, you know, there's many people who date older men or older women or whatever. But I think society needs to change a little bit, hey?
The mentality.
The mentality, because at the end of the day, it's love. Unless it's illegal, you know, if I was 15 and he was 40, yeah, that's a problem. But I push you of age, and I even find it better when, as a young woman, let's say in your 25s, 26, 27, it's usually better to date a mature person, you know, around in their 30s. Maybe, I don't know, depends, but older men tend to be at the same maturity level as women who are in their 26, 27. So you'll see a lot of that happening, but it has to do with maturity. But hey, if you find a man who is the same age and is just as mature as you, enjoy.
If I'm gay, you're traveling. I can't say to have both of you guys.
I know.
If you're allowed, of course.
I know.
So Amanda, tell me, like, how do you plan 5 years ahead of you?
5 years. Okay, I plan to live in Rwanda, first of all. I plan to raise my kids in Rwanda. Thankfully, fiancé wanje nakibazo afite tukarabivuganye aravuga ngo abana bafite kwiga hano kuko namwe murabibona ikinyarwanda cyanjye cyuritse ariko dushaka ko abana banje biga the culture. So in 5 years I see myself having children, living here, growing here, working here. I see myself being a therapist. I don't plan to live crazy, you know, find a nice home, na fiancé wanje, changwa husband at the time.
Husband.
So yeah, simple life in Rwanda, really.
Niki mu buzima witwararika cyane? For example, for me I can say kintu nitwararika cyambere nitwararika kutababaza umuntu. You get it?
Okay.
Kubaha buri muntu wese, and you think someone else should be able to do that thing.
Njyewe same ariko I would also add kumva abantu, you know, to understand them. Hari igihe tuvugana ariko tutarimo kumva abantu ibyo what they really mean. You see, so kuri njyewe I find it, for me, the most important thing in my life niwe muntu arimo kumvugisha, sinshaka kumva to respond, nshaka kumva nyine to understand.
Yego.
So that's the biggest thing for me.
Okay. So Amanda, what advice can you give to someone ushaka nkawe? Because you're very an open person, ukaba wagira ikibazo, you feel opening up to people. Hari umuntu nyine unabigukunda, they just admire you for such a thing. So ni advice waha umuntu, they be like, I want to be like Amanda.
First of all, that's so sweet. Yeah, that's very sweet. What can I say? First, accepting yourself. Yeah. Accept yourself. Because you can't be open about yourself if you're not accepted who you are. Sure. Since like kwiyakira, that's the word. Ufite kwiyakira. Umenye ko hari abantu bazavuga ibintu nukora ibintu bibi, bazavuga ibintu nukora ibintu byiza, bazavuga. So hari igihe ufite kwibaza niki kintu, what's more important to me? Ni authenticity, kuba njyewe muri, because you're on earth for a very short time, you know. So are you going to be on this earth? Uzaba hano mwisi urimo kugenda to go the way people tell you, you know? Are you going to go based off of how people see you? Or are you going to go based off of how you see yourself? So, you know, wiyakire, umenye ko life is very short, so do it the way you want to see it.
Amanda Dusoza, what advice can you give to someone going through a lot of problems?
I would say, ntutinye kugenda kubona abantu bashobora kugufasha. Nubitinye kubera niba ufite ikibazo cy'umutima, like heart problems cyangwa physical problems, nagutinya kugenda kuri doctor, right? So don't be afraid to go also seek help for your mind, you know. That's number one, don't be afraid. Number two, menya ko taking the step taking the step to help yourself will change your life. Will change your life. Before you get mental health help, there's a person who you are after. And the person after is usually the best version of yourself. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Amanda, thank you so much for allowing my, having an interview with me.
No,
that was a very, very, very big thing for me.
Nanje, it was really big. I haven't done interviews in a long time. Like when you called me, I don't know, something was just kind of like, do it.
Okay.
Just do it. So thank you for really, really good questions. I hope other than that, God bless, and yeah, have a great day.
Mwakoze gukurikirana interview yari Kalisa Amanda ndetse na Jeanne Mukanwali, Radio TV 10.